building a resilient and adaptive organization through mindset shifts and continuous learning. Abstract, in a world characterized by constant change and disruption, organizations must embrace adaptability, resilience, and continuous learning to remain competitive. This article explores how leaders can build future-fit organizations through strategic mindset shifts and by fostering cultures of experimentation and growth. A focus on learning orientation, growth mindset, and adaptive problem-solving equips organizations to navigate challenges and seize emerging opportunities. The article also examines key practices such as scenario planning, agile methodologies, and internal learning programs that ensure continuous development and operational flexibility. Case studies of organizations like Amazon, Anthropic, and Netflix demonstrate how these principles translate into sustained success. Ultimately, organizations that cultivate future readiness through innovation, reinvention, and learning will thrive in the face of uncertainty and lead in an ever-changing landscape. In our rapidly changing world, the only constant is change itself. Modern organizations must be agile, adaptable, and ready to pivot on a dime in response to disruptive forces like technological innovation, evolving consumer preferences, political upheaval, climate events, and global health crises. Those that remain rigid or rest on past successes will find themselves ill-equipped to thrive in uncertain times. Today, we will explore how leaders can build truly future-fit organizations through strategic mindset shifts and a culture of continuous learning and improvement. By fostering resilience, adaptability, and an experimental approach to problem-solving, leaders can empower their people and organizations to weather disruption and seize emerging opportunities. Shifting mindsets toward growth and adaptability. An organization's culture and the core assumptions held by its members set the stage for how it will react to change. When the status quo is prized over adaptation, or blaming others is valued over self-reflection, rigidity and short-term thinking can take hold. Leaders must role model and reinforce mindsets conducive to flexibility and growth if the organization is to thrive long-term. Research shows that adopting a learning orientation can enhance an organization's ability to adapt. DeGius, 1997, Senge, 1990. Rather than focusing solely on current performance, a learning orientation prompts members to view challenges and failures as opportunities to gain new insights. Members feel psychologically safe to experiment and take prudent risks without fear of sanctions. Edmondson, 2019. Leaders foster this by praising effort and progress over outcomes alone. Adopting a growth mindset also supports adaptability. Dweck, 2006. Those with a growth mindset believe abilities can be developed through dedication and skill building. They thrive on challenges and see setbacks as springboards for improvement. A fixed mindset, conversely, sees talent as innate and insurmountable difficulties as evidence of limited ability. Leaders can shift mindsets by attributing success to effort, acknowledging no one has arrived at mastery, and emphasizing that setbacks often precede breakthroughs. Fostering adaptive problem-solving. With the right mindsets in place, leaders must then implement systems and processes to turn aspirations of adaptability into organizational capability. One proven approach is establishing a culture of experimentation where rapid, low-risk testing of new ideas is the norm. Gino and Stats, 2015. Proper frameworks like design thinking provide structured experimentation without fear of failure. Leaders foster this by openly discussing missteps, reallocating resources from ideas that don't pan out, and rewarding experimenters for insights gained rather than solely outcomes achieved. Scenario planning can also enhance adaptive capacity. Rather than basing plans on one predicted future, Scenario planning involves systematically imagining multiple plausible futures and developing strategies flexible enough to succeed across scenarios. Schunker, 1995, Wack, 1985. Leaders ensure scenario planning avoids being an isolated exercise by integrating insights into strategic and operational decision-making. Establishing flexible processes allows organizations to rapidly modify or replace programs that no longer fit changing conditions. Agile methodologies from software development prove effective in other domains, like new product development and process re-engineering. Using short, iterative cycles of planning, action, and review keeps initiatives adaptable based on ongoing learning. Takeuchi and Nanaka, 1986. Leaders mainstream agile approaches by giving teams autonomy within guardrails and removing bureaucracy that hampers iteration, cultivating a culture of continuous learning. No matter how future fit the initial design, organizations must continuously update capabilities through ongoing learning. Leaders cultivate an environment where growth is a core organizational priority and a shared responsibility. One best practice is establishing a formal corporate university. Google, Disney, and others credit internal universities with cultivating the innovation that fuels growth. Zio, 2018. Beyond technical training, such institutions instill an understanding that the work of self-improvement and skill building is never complete. Leaders ensure curriculums cover both hard skills, like data analytics, alongside soft skills, like collaboration and resilience. Mentorship and rotation programs complement formal learning by facilitating knowledge transfer between groups. Lankau and Skandura, 2002. Mentees gain exposure to new perspectives, while mentors reinforce learning through teaching. Similarly, temporary assignments broaden individual skill sets and speed diffusion of new practices. Leaders prioritize these programs by establishing guidelines and allocating staff time for participation. Fostering a culture where every person feels empowered and obligated to continuously learn also requires a shift in performance management. Yurta et al. 1995. Future-oriented reviews focus less on past results and more on goals for self-improvement, skill upgrades, and innovative projects for the year ahead. Compensation is tied not to duties in a single role, but to contributions advancing organizational capabilities over the long term. Organizational adaptation in practice. Amazon exemplifies continuous adaptation through experimentation, scenario planning, and learning culture reinvention. Although early success came from online book sales, CEO Jeff Bezos mandated regularly exploring adjacencies like e-commerce, cloud services, and content production through hundreds of autonomous teams. Rosenthal, Bezos, and Stone, 2019. Annually, leaders convene Skunkworks sessions where teams prototype startling new ventures in IT robotics and beyond. Similarly, Anthropic adeptly navigates an uncertain AI safety field. The startup subjects safety approaches like constitutional AI to red team critiques to rapidly refine ideas. Meanwhile, founder Dario Amodei notes leaders devise quarterly scenarios anticipating scientific advances or crises to refine long-term strategy accordingly. Amodei also stresses maintaining a flat, interdisciplinary structure to foster knowledge sharing towards managing unforeseen technological risks. At Netflix, regular practice in scenario planning, experimentation, and data-driven decision-making supports breaking into new regions and categories. For instance, to determine localization strategies, stakeholders brainstorm how cultural preferences may evolve before launching localized apps and subtitles. Ibarra and Hansen, 2013, Friedland, 2018. Similarly, while expanding into original content, leaders authorize autonomous divisions to independently pursue hits through trial and error. Conclusion. In today's rapidly shifting world, those able to stay relevant through adaptation and learning will secure lasting competitive advantage. This paper outlines strategic approaches leaders can apply to instill a future-oriented culture across their organizations. By fostering key mindset shifts around growth and problem-solving, organizations can develop an innovative spirit and problem-solving acumen. Pairing these cultural interventions with processes supporting experimentation, scenario planning, and continuous skill building enables organizations to stay strategically flexible and operationally nimble. Organizations like Amazon, Netflix, and Anthropic illustrate how diligently applying these principles sustains market dominance even amid tectonic changes. Leaders who make future fitness a top priority empower their people and organizations not just to survive disruption, but to thrive through innovation and reinvention.